time, we believe in creating an authentic environment built on the foundation of productivity and collaboration to inspire our people to achieve their business goals and design a legacy worth leaving. Always love that. And Joseph and we've been having a lot of conversations lately just about this vision and continuing to push this vision forward. Obviously, we've seen a tremendous amount of progress in that vision over the years, and we were asking ourselves, what's it really mean? And it's really a very simple vision to us in helping people create through real estate the business that they want to create, right? Really, if you were to distill it down into something really simple, changing lives through real estate, entrepreneurship specifically. Not only our agents' lives, but our consumer and clients' lives. So we see that every day, which is really cool. We can't do great things without great partners. So, Kelly, want to come up and tell us a little bit about mortgages?
We're going to be covering this part.
So, give her a hand.
You also had them.
Yes, she did.
Please eat it all because that would be a lot for me to finish this weekend.
Everybody's going to be asleep right now.
Okay, so I always try to bring more value than mortgage stuff. There's a lot going on in the mortgage industry, and I should have some finalized things over the next few meetings. I'll share about the condo update because I'm getting lots of questions on that. I just need some more finalized information before I share that. We're gonna mortgage rates are set to stay around 5.5 for the rest of the year, most likely. So we're gonna not focus on rates. We're gonna focus on everything we else talked about with affordability and creating that affordability. And also to let you know, some of you know that I am a certified divorce mortgage planner. And so what that means is divorce transactions are different. Has anybody in here ever gone through a divorce transaction with some clients? They're different, right? They're high stress, but at the end, you have helped somebody get through a really tough time in their life. And I specialize in that. And we did 2 CE classes here, and I have gotten so many questions and so many meetings after those CE classes. I figured I'd share just a little snippet of that information and how that could actually be a pillar in your business if you have the heart for it. So that's what I'm sharing today, if y'all don't mind. So, it's all screwed up. It's okay.
It looks like the lines are off.
They're off, but we can still read it.
Yeah.
So this is actually a very big, it's got to be a niche if you want to work in it, because you've got to understand some things. But the more education you bring to yourself, if you want that education from me, I can help. There's also some special certification for real estate agents that you can get working with divorcing clients. But it is mostly referral-based, relationship-based. Please, if you want to get into this niche, the worst thing you can do is go pull a list of just recently filed divorces and go call those people. Please don't do that. I have had agents do that, and it causes lots of issues. There's a smart way to go about doing this. What you do is you build relationships with professionals. Professionals don't expect you to work nights and weekends. You build these relationships with these referral engines, and you get a strong referral group. I have a real estate partner who closes about 10 million a year just doing the referrals from divorce attorneys and divorce specialized financial advisors and things like that. So it can be a really great niche that works. You also get repeat business from the same referral partners on a regular basis, especially if they're a good divorce attorney that meets with lots of people, because you're going to help. And where this really comes in is you help people during high stress, high nerve-wracking events. And so if you have the heart for that, it can be a great thing. And then you become a specialist and people start referring you. And we were actually just talking about Claude and ChatGPT, and you put information out this. I get 5 or 6 AI referrals a month from people that just look at our blog posts and stuff about going through divorce. So if you go to the next one. So why this could be a great strategy for you is there are lots of divorces annually, about up to 700,000 annually in the US. About 80% of those homeowners are actually home. 80% of people in the US are homeowners. So let's say 80% of the divorcing Americans are homeowners. There is a home in that divorce. They got to figure out what to do. they need you to help walk them through the stages of, do I keep it? Do I buy out? Do I sell, take the equity and buy something else? So it can be a really big help. And then you work through all this. So you can skip to the next one. And then, unfortunately, 40 to 45% of first marriages in the divorce are really, really sad statistic, but it is real. And they need help and they don't know where to turn. And gray divorce, which is divorce under the age of 55, has doubled since 1990. Divorces over 55 have doubled since 1990, meaning that it's really, really sad. But after the kids are gone, people are done, they need help.
I have a few friends who are going to do that.
But what happens here is their biggest asset is the house. Which is why they need you. And then and then a lot of these people also have multiple homes. And they've got to figure out how that real estate works to keep it, to sell it, to all those things so they can afford to live later. And that is where you come in as a real estate agent to advise, to work with divorce attorneys and things like that. So I've got lots of other slides. I don't know what else I sent y'all on this, but these are the people. Sorry, I did this on Monday. I did a little Monday. So basically, the marketing is different. You market to the professionals you want to work with. So if you are more of a B&B person, I am. That's why I don't do good in real estate, but I can do really good in loans because I'm more of a B2B kind of person. I work with the business owners. You are my clients. Before I get to the actual people we're doing mortgages for, this is a very similar thing. You attend lots of happy hours and lunches during the week, not on nights and weekends. You build relationships with all kinds of people. Certified divorce mortgage planner is one of those. And a lot of you get a lead, they're stickier because they're less likely to shop you. They're less likely to bring 5 real estate agents in to shop you out because their divorce attorney said, call this person. Their mediator said, you're listed with this person. The judge said, you're listed with this person, and giving rules around it. So it's not quick. You got to develop the relationship. It's a long game. But if you spend a good 6 months to a year developing this, it can be a great business. And I'm here to help. And I shared this just because we've had so many questions from the divorce mortgage or the divorce class that we did for CE. Wanted to share this information. And with mortgage rates not dropping, maybe you need an extra pillar to consider. So this could be a great one to consider if you need help, have questions, I'm happy to help because I want to be your partner and help your businesses grow. So any questions for me? Gosh, I'm quiet today.
All right.
Well, I am in a national coaching group. So I have a coaching group. We bring in once a month nationwide top real estate producers. And they do a webinar. So we've done one on social media, one on YouTube, one on just gifting. And so this is the next one. And if you want to attend, it's the what day is that? The 21st. It is the 21st at 3:00. It's a webinar. It just helps you build. This one is on how to outlast any market regardless of rate. So she's really, really smart. If you want to attend.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It's great. A couple weeks ago at the last team meeting, we talked a lot about strategies to get in front of more people, right, with value. One of those strategies was to go directly to business owners, right, business to business. And years ago, I heard a story of somebody that built a monster business, a monster real estate business, by going to Capital Grill every day. At the time, they couldn't afford really anything at Capital Grill. They had bread and water. And they would go there because at 3:00 was when all the divorce attorneys showed up to have their lunch or their happy hour, or whatever it was. They developed relationships with the divorce attorneys, brought value to them. And the reason that he chose that business owner was because typically there's 3 transactions in that one relationship. right? So he looked at it from a numbers game, and he also said, you know what? I'm very good at conflict resolution. If you're good at conflict resolution, you can handle high emotion, high stress environments, and then you're able to put the pin back into the grenade, right? When you're still standing in the room. Mentor told me that. Don't ever throw a grenade in the room without a pin if you don't know how to put the pin back into it, or get out of the room, right? But if you're able to do that, you're able to, and you have that skill set, it is a great space to help people, right? Because it's a reality. It's a sad reality, yet it's a reality, and it is a space that we can serve. And a lot of our conversations the last really month or 14 meetings have been around how can we reposition ourselves as the real estate advisor and the fiduciary in the transaction. This is one of those ways, right? If so, we're just throwing different ideas at you, saying, hey, does this fit you? Is this authentic to you? Is this something that makes sense? With that said, we all just got back from 4th of July. We're halfway through the year. There's a lot to be thankful for. So fill somebody's bucket, or maybe you had a huge win that you want to brag on yourself or somebody else for. Give me three buckets, or tell me something good.
I'll start. Some of y'all know that events and Joseph, but my whole 6+ years of being a real estate agent, it was basically dual career, full time for both. But I have made the transition completely out of education now. So this past year was my last year. So
Wow. The education department's gonna miss you, but we're glad to have you.
Yes, that's awesome, man.
I'll keep dropping Kristen's name for all that she's been doing with that Somerville office. You've just really done a great job. And you just need to hear that. So thank you.
it is happening.
Why have been construction took longer than you were told?
Yeah.
We had our doubts.
Yeah, how you guys have new construction buyers and it's like 1 or 2 people, like we're the agents on new construction buyers, but it's 58. That's
Washer, comma, dryer.
Yeah, it really looks great.
Yeah,
If you
looks
haven't seen
great
the floor plan, here it is. So come check it out later.
Probably
It's going to be
about
it's because it really has done a decent job.
$4,000.
And there's a golf simulator behind it.
Nice. And a Baroli.
really well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a Barely barbershop. So we're going to join the golf. I thought we were getting a golf membership on it.
Oh, all right.
Whatever. Yeah, we split the membership in actually. She absolutely did. Go ahead, Nancy.
I want to thank Bobby because we just did something together and it was really nice working with somebody who's professional and we really worked together and made everybody happy and that's the goal. And it was a very wonderful, we had a purple. Thank you. We did. We had a fun stuff.
That's one of your largest
It was both of their
Yeah.
largest trips.
transactions.
My largest ever. So it was, yeah, it's so far. It's been on the market. So I mean, it was a couple of years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I remember it, like, it was a set, yeah. It's awesome.
Congratulations.
Relationships.
Yes.
Mhm.
Anybody have another?
I want to thank Jay for helping me cover the front desk while I was out of town.
Oh,
It's weird. Let's command. Do one more.
I'll thank Jen. She paid.
That would be a very good start, period.
And that with
It
team
definitely would.
and, it's halfway through the year and for me especially, I had, a rough 6 months, so to speak, even though I'm not complaining about the business I got, but I've had some things fall through that were under contract and people walk away, stuff like that, like up to the tune of 7 million, like when I added it all up.
right.
But after Lynn came in, just honestly, while we were sitting in that meeting, my whole mindset changed. Like it really, she was a big part of that. Thank you.
Oh.
You hear about the things falling out, right? And the people, number one, hear about things falling out. That's not unique to this industry. And then you also hear about how important, although we're all in business for ourselves, not being in business by yourself is so important. Having people in your corner, people around you. Lynn's putting the team in that way. Nice.
I've never seen that.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen it.
50.
Sorry, I absolutely love it. I was talking to my cousin the other day. Her and her family were down in Charleston. They were coming through. They did a road trip with the kids down to Orlando, and they were going back to Philly area. And she's a real estate agent up there. And she was sitting there complaining for a solid 20 minutes until I couldn't take it anymore. She's like one of my best friends. We grew up together. But about that, she had a buyer that she was showing in the Philly area for 6 months and then decided not to buy. And it wasn't the first time that it happened this year. And she was talking about all the fallout. So it's not unique to our area, is my point. It's unique to this particular market right now. From becoming a more normalized market. Everything is relative to us, right? 3 years ago, you didn't feel that as much. Now you do. Now we need different strategies to follow up. We need different strategies to stay in contact. We have to have patience. We have to have a big enough pipeline so that when one thing does fall out, we've got another right behind it, right? It's different. I don't want to call it hard, right? But it's different and it feels different, which brings out different emotions, right? Because having great people in our corner is really so. Thanks, Glenn. With that said, let's move to the next thing. Oh,
I want to fill another bucket too.
she does.
Christina Crosby, she's been in every time, like I see you in the office almost, I feel like every day. I know that's probably not it, but she's doing the things I think it takes to be successful. And she's working really closely with another agent and getting the experience. And I know it'll pay off. And she has her first listing. I know it's been challenging, but she's doing the right activities to sustain. And it's hard after like being in the business for a year and seeing it pay off. So I know it will, but you're doing the activities you should. So
It's awesome. It's a good room. Yes. All right. And new faces in the room. It's July. July.
I know.
Same faces as I always do.
We have a visitor.
How you doing? I'm Vince.
Hi, I'm April Johnson.
Hey.
Still working on my coursework. I'm about 3/4 done and should be taking my test in the next few weeks or so. We also I'm looking at different brokers and see where I fit in well.
Awesome. Welcome. It's good meeting you. Keep on working on that. So how do you went that class about that? Went through that class 4 times and never finished it.
Still working on it. But
Things are crazy.
Fine.
I think the valve, we were like,
Oh, it's so better top performers. Stuff.
Clicking to the counter.
Yeah, I did. I went through the course. I just got business with other things. So let's give a huge hand to these individuals. Freeman team leading the way. This is our top group. School licenses or more. Sean Cleary, Husted, Susie. There's some from Susie's team and Ronnie. Let's give a hand. Production. These are our top teams. So 3 licenses. Let's give them a hand. This is someone. Oh, that's a heck of a month by Scott.
Yeah.
Is that just month today?
and then look at Craig and Bobby.
Yeah. So let's give them a hand.
Jill. Jill.
Join some Aaron. That's awesome. That's a heck of a.
AJ's on Zoom.
So there you go, AJ. That was Craig's first closing, wasn't it?
No.
So now we got $6 million one last month, so.
That's what it was. Yeah, he's had a decent year. It's crushing it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. It's so good. It's one of my favorite things about looking at production is it's still there. It's out there. No matter how it feels, right? Maybe it feels things are falling out. It's a different market. It's a normalizing market, right? Yet it's still out there. People are still transacting. People are still buying, selling, and investing in real estate. Right? We just have to be better at getting in front of adapting to the market and appreciating that personal reasons is the primary reason that people are moving or transacting, right? So what can we do to continue to get in front of people? It's happening. Want to go through else? What else? What do we got coming up?
What do we have coming up? We have the Art of Winning the Listing with Bill Bird. Do you want to touch on Bill? Yes.
So
Just in our top teams.
yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
He's absolutely, he's
Yeah.
been absolutely crushing it, him and Waverly. And I gotta be honest, is one of the most knowledgeable individuals in our ecosystem. Yeah, that's nice. He's a very nice guy. I agree.
And he builds apps, like he's building his own real estate apps and stuff too. Like that's crazy. He's so smart.
Yeah, he's unbelievably knowledgeable about the industry. He's been in the industry for
40
long
years.
times. How many?
40.
40 years. One of the coolest things about that, when you hear about somebody being in an industry for 40 years, the first thing that comes to my mind is they've been through so many market variations and they're still here. When you think about the statistics in real estate right now, 88% of new licensees in real estate are out in the first 24 months of getting licensed, right? I know that's a terrible statistic. Yet, we're committed to making sure that our individuals are part of the 12. It's the game. And what's really interesting is you hear about a Bill who's been through, well, he's not that, right? He's not on that statistic. He's part of that 12%, obviously. And he continues to adapt and then share how he's adapted. We have another class with Bill coming up that we'll talk about, but his knowledge in wealth building, in taking listings, but then more specifically in tax strategies for in estate planning, things of that nature is second to none. So this is an amazing class to go to. The education committee has done an amazing job of bringing in top agents to talk about how they're winning listings and how they're winning buyers. And in a couple of minutes, Joseph and I are going to talk about you. Just let it out. We're going to talk about how other strategies to win more listings. And but we've heard from Ronnie a couple months ago. We've heard from on the buyer side, on go into these, yeah, and Allison, we go into these.
She let it out.
There's so many great tactics that we can take. So even if you've already gone to one of the listing classes, continue to go. These are there so that you're continuing to get different perspective from different.
He's also very excited and he has some good stuff planned to share, is what he shared with me yesterday. So if you've not signed up, QR code's up there, please sign up. It's also in the training for. I see Nancy pulling out the phone. Go ahead and pull it out. Yep. Wait.
He
really is.
Yeah. Is it on your calendar?
Okay.
What else we got?
Hold on, Bobby's taking one. What I like about this too is it's not the same material every time because it's dependent on their personality and who they service. So you're going to get something different from each person you go to. Next one, CMA Lab with Shantae. I don't have the listing that she's going to do for this class yet, but once you sign up for it, she'll send out a property that you all will work together to build you'll build the CMA beforehand, and then you'll bring it to class and work through it as well. But these have been really good. So July 20th, CMA Lab here in West Ashley. Q2 market recap. That is July 23rd. It's going to be at DR Horton again. I know majority of you have already been to these. Sign up for it. If you have not attended one of these, you should. You can use these in your buyer presentations, listing presentations. It really gives you, like Vince is saying, being the fiduciary for your clients, it gives you the data and talking points that you need for giving your client the most up-to-date information about the market.
I think important part is how to talk about it. The conversation out there. What's the conversation around it? And I think what a lot of people are doing, and Lynn and I have done a lot of it too, is great. There's literally 12 different pages that you could use for 12 different topics of content as well. And it's just about understanding the market, how to translate it to the consumer to make it simple.
What time is it again?
It is 10 to 1 with lunch included.
If you scan the barcode, maybe it's on that.
Yes, if you want to invite Kevin.
Yeah, my guess, the whole 9 yards. Again, this is about people don't pay for information, they pay for organization and application. One of the greatest things about this course to me is we're literally talking, in the room is talking about how we're organizing and applying that information for our clients based on their goals. Right. So again, in the content piece, it's great. Go ahead.
I did a broker's open with another agent from a different office yesterday, and I want Suzanne down here came, which was really lovely. And then she had some, we didn't have anybody, but the other, they were from the real estate group or something like that.
The real estate firm.
whatever it is. And the person who came to see her said that her broker said that the market's changing and it's 51%. She goes, what's it? I said, where did he get his information? From Zillow. And so, you know, I mean, I was like, he's getting his market information, which to me was kind of like, you had a lot more. I think I should call them both up and say, you know, if you want to come to this.
Yes.
So there is that no agent left behind challenge, Nancy.
I know, is that, that's it, 51, like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
So this is a little more.
Well, I think that's the key. There's a lot of information out there. We have to be there for our clients to distill that information to what's true, right? Number one, and then what matters.
Yeah.
There's so many things out there and people don't know what to pay attention to. So they get very overwhelmed by information overload and they don't make decisions and they don't make choices. Our responsibility in the transaction is to help based on their goals, always based on their goals, take the right information, distill it down and say, these are our options. What do you think is going to work? Right? Very, very simple.
They're getting that a lot of times national data, not the local data, which is so different in the Charleston market. So this is all local information.
Yep. It's not true.
And then Bill again, he loves to teach this class. We try to have it on the calendar twice a year at least. But this one is super. We have agents that come out of this and they want to hear it again because it's so informative. Or requests that they couldn't make in. So we're having this again, 1031 tax exchanges and what an agent needs to know. It's a 3-hour class, so buckle up for it, but it'll be super informative. And I don't lunch. And lunch, yes. Of course, lunch.
And we talk about the different niches, right? This is a great target. I mean, if we think about we've been talking about this for years, but we're going through one of the largest wealth transfers that the United States has ever seen, right? With baby boomers. And the baby boomers control majority of the wealth, and there is a big wealth transfer happening. 72% of transfers of wealth result in a family dispute, right? And have some sort of issue, and most of those are around things like probate, things like tax issues, and things like money, really. Again, classes like this and then the knowledge of Bill helps us be that fiduciary, use that word again, that fiduciary in the transaction advisor. So definitely go to this. It's a great opportunity.
I don't have an Eventbrite for this yet, but September 14th, well, not for this. There's a new class as well. Brian Beatty is going to be teaching Investing 101. So if you've ever been interested in getting into the investor field, or you have clients that you may not be up to par on knowledge with investing, this is going to be a great course. Brian Beatty does a lot of investing, and it's a great opportunity to be able to learn from him on
We
that.
can get it prepped for the team meeting recap.
Yeah, we'll have it on the team meeting recap, but that'll be September 14th. So just go ahead and pencil it in. I like to get y'all the trainings as early as possible. So, all right.
All right. Joseph, here we go. Come on up, dude.
Get ready to live. Let's go. Live team meeting.
Yay.
Live team meeting. So, who can tell me what the mission of Keller Williams is?
Not the vision.
Not the vision, the mission, Keller Williams.
The life worth living.
That's part of it. Life worth living,
Legacy worth leaving.
legacy worth
Business
living,
worth having, a life worth living, and a legacy worth leaving.
businesses worth owning,
That's it.
careers worth having, lives worth living, sorry. Experiences worth giving and legacy worth leaving. Okay, so a business worth owning, what does that look like? What does that mean to have a business worth owning?
One that's profitable
It's profitable, it's good.
and one you actually want to show up for.
One you want to show up for, that's a big answer.
That's a good one.
Okay, so what we want to do with this is, I mean, I joke about July team meetings. So the frustrating part about July team meetings is they're sparse, right? Because it's July and we're not working on businesses worth owning. Did I say that out loud? And so, but the important part of this though is like, how do we see how our business is doing?
Life worth living.
This is the life worth living part, which is fantastic, right? And people should. But if you look, what was fascinating about the June numbers is to be a top 10 individual in Keller Williams Charleston, you had to have sold over $1 million in real estate in a month. That's pretty impressive. That's pretty impressive, right? So some of you looked at it and were like, I'm not on track to do that, right? So how do we look at July as being that reset? How do we look at the mid-year reset? Some of you may not need to reset. I'm not saying that everybody has. So what we want to do today is talk about where that opportunity lies, right? And then how do we go get it? And that's the important part because it's not going to be the same. Like Kelly's got great tactics that she talks about. Bill's going to talk about a lot in his classes. All of those are there. Our goal is to share the opportunities for you guys to then identify where you can go get them, right? So,
And the fastest way to it.
right.
And again, life, business, everything wants to be so complex. Success lies in the simple. So how do we distill down to the simple, actionable things that are actually going to make a difference in the gap between where we are today and where we're going from a goal standpoint, right? So if you were to think to yourself, we have 180 days left, and everything in life is about change, right? Adaptation. I was at Keller Williams about 3 days after I started at KW. I was at Keller Williams International, and I remember listening. The CEO at the time was a guy named Chris Heller, and I remember I'm sitting on like the corner in the back, actually, right? And I'm listening to Chris Heller come up, and somebody asked him a question about there was an election going on. And he said, is there going to be an impact on the real estate market given this election or whatever was going on in the world? And he kind of sat and he waited. He said, well, of course, I don't know what it's going to be. I don't have a crystal ball. Yet what I will tell you is that one thing's for certain. Our ability to adapt is paramount in our ability to succeed into the future. And change, the way that I heard that is change is just a part of life, and change and adaptation is just a part of business, right? We have 180 days left. Many of us might look down at our goals and say, I don't have a shot. Many of us might look at our goals and say, I do have a shot. Some of us might look at our goals and say, whoa, I've already hit my goal or I'm exceeding it. All of it is an answer. None of it is good. None of it is bad. It's all just an answer. And there's an amazing book that I would encourage everybody to read at this time of year called The Gap in the Game. Who wrote that? Dan Sullivan and Ben Hardy.
Reading it.
The Gap in the Game. And it talks about the feelings that you have when you look specifically at the gap versus specifically at the gains that you've made, right? Maybe I have a goal this year of 24 transactions by the end of the year, and I'm only at 6. Okay, well, I might look at that gap and say 24 minus 6 is, what's that?
A lot.
A lot, right? 18.
It's a really good.
And you might say to yourself, no, it's a big number. However, something happened in the 6 that allowed you to do the 6. And if I focus on what really worked in the 6, the feelings that I get are a lot better than the feelings I get of frustration, despair, from I can't do it, right? Of the gap. And that feeling that you get when you look at the successes as compared to the failures are usually the things that, one, you should leverage to go and overcome the gap, but 2, it helps you actually identify the things that you should probably do more of. And it helps you also be aware of the things you should stop doing. So we have a couple of questions on the next slide. So I would ask everybody, and we don't have to say this out loud, but do this in your head or do this in a piece of paper in front of you.
Do it on a piece of paper in front of you.
Do it on a piece of paper in front of you. Okay.
Thanks, Eric and Jessica. Hey, how you doing? It's good to see you. What's your goal? What was your goal? Don't be afraid to write it down and just be honest with yourself. I remember doing an exercise one time and it was 10 questions and I've gotten into the habit of answering these 10 questions, kind of life questions, recorder. Yet I remember going through them the first time and I literally found myself writing this to myself and lying about the answers to certain things to make myself feel better. And then I realized the whole point is to get better or to bring awareness and to make change. And nobody's going to see this anyway. Why am I not being honest even with myself in answering these questions? So be honest when you answer these. What was my goal? Where do I actually sit today? What's the gap? I'm going to add one. Why was that goal important to you at the beginning of the year? What was important about that goal at the beginning of the year? And then think to yourself about the energy that you had around that goal. There's a concept called diminishing marginal intent or diminishing marginal attention, I think, or something along those lines. It's a big word. It's hard for me to remember all these things. Yet it talks about how our energy around a goal is never higher than the moment we set it. One of the hardest things about goals and pushing toward an achievement of goals is the fact that our energy around that goal wanes over time and diminishes over time. So we have to do things to, one, keep it in front of us, and two, keep our energy up around those goals. So ask yourself, what was important about it back when I said it? Ask yourself, what's the gap? Units, GCI, income, maybe it's your appointments or your listings. Doesn't really matter what it is. Just identify the gap for yourself. And then, am I reacting to my numbers or weak? It's an interesting question. Am I reacting to my numbers or weak? What's next? What does that mean? What does that mean? What's that mean to everybody else? Am I reacting to my numbers or weak?
Well, to me, are you working ahead? Like you're not just, you're constantly doing what you need to do to reach your goals. You're not just waiting till, oh crap, I haven't reached my goals. Now I got to react to get back to my goals.
That's great. I love that. It's a perfect answer. That's good. Do I get into action because there was a 0 last month? Or did I stay in action? Was I constantly doing, I went to this because I used to draw this quadrant of important, not urgent stuff. What's an example of important and not urgent? Making my calls every day, connecting with my database, going to a networking event. Am I doing those things when it's not urgent because I saw my bank account come down, right? That's react, or that's leading my numbers and leading my business. Reacting is, oh God, I didn't have a good month last month, and now I'm hitting the skinny pedal and I'm actually doing the things that I know I should be doing that I didn't do last month because I didn't feel like I really had any urgency behind it. Right? By the way, everybody reacts to their numbers at some point. We do it. We're doing it right now. We're reacting to certain things. Joseph, a lot, right? It's not a bad thing, but you should be aware of it. What's next? And then I really love these 5 questions, right? We talked about what's my goal and where am I today? What's the gap? That's all good, great, and grand. We've identified that. Now, here's a really important question to ask. What worked? And even better, what surprised me that it worked?
Write that down. Like everybody write at least 2 things down that worked well. I think that the point that Vince made earlier, I think is super important because from my standpoint as a trainer and a coach, I fall victim to going towards, well, your goal was 10, you hit 5. Why didn't you hit 10? And we try to fix a problem instead of saying your goal was 10, you hit 5. How did you do the 5? Right? That's what we should be focused on. That was I didn't make that change. We started talking about this like 12 months ago. It wasn't
worked well.
Yeah, it worked well in the 5. And how do you do more of that? Because Brian Buffini, if you never heard Brian Buffini, he's one of the best real estate coaches in the country. He always talk about like if something you're doing sucks and you just go do more of it, it's just going to suck more, right? So why are you focusing on that? Like go and focus on what you're doing well.
When you ask the surprise piece, sometimes you realize, like, oh man, I didn't expect that.
sometimes we'll do something and we don't have a tremendous amount of intention behind that particular activity, or we heard a cool idea. And then we did it once and it worked, but we never evaluated that, hey, how do I do that multiple times and actually continue to get the same result? Right? So what surprised me that it worked? And then how can I double down on it? And right behind that question, and how do I double down on it? It's not let's work more. It's what do I have to stop doing that if I stopped doing it, nobody would notice? That's a question that I tend to try to ask every week, right? It's a question that a lot of that, again, 24 hours is a great equalizer. It's a very important question. We tend to want to be busy. I know I do. I just am busy for no reason sometimes. And I look up and I'm like, I didn't even, one, I don't even remember what I did. Two, what was the point? There was no intention behind it. And there's no productivity. We talk a lot about activity, like activity. Let's get into action. Let's get in. What's the point of activity? Productivity. If I'm just doing activity, but it's not leading to productivity, stop doing the activity. It's just a waste of energy and time and probably money and just a lot of things that you don't want to waste. Right? So what wasted my time? And be honest with yourself when you answer that. It's a great time to do it, but you still got 6 months if that goal is still important to you. And what needs to stop immediately? It's a pretty definitive one, right? What has to stop immediately? But another way to test that is stop something for a period of time, for a couple of days or a couple of weeks, and see if anybody asks about it. If nobody asks about it, it probably didn't matter or it didn't add value. Right? And then last, I love starting question about the future and what has to be true. So what has to be true over the next 90 days to eliminate the gap? What has to be true? Here's even better one. What has to be true in order, if I'm not having fun right now, what has to be fun? What has to be true for me to have fun pursuing this goal again? What would that look like? And be honest with yourself about, you know what? I hate doing X. Can't stand it. And then change it. And say, if I was to do Y, would I have more fun? Yeah, I think I would have more fun. Now, how do I wait, or how do I connect that to overcoming this gap and achieving my goal? Well, we've talked about business plans where you're golfing twice a week and how you can add 200 people to a database and close 14 transactions from it. That sounds pretty fun to me, right? We've talked about business plans where I can create an event where I'm shopping with a business owner downtown for a 25% discount with all of my friends in my sphere of influence, and I'm adding people to my database. If you're a shopper, it might sound pretty fun to you, right? There are creative ways on the models. By the way, both of those are models, networking and events, but you just added a little creativity to it. And that was fun because it was aligned with what you like to do. So think about the next 90 days and write that down. And then why listings? So when we think about what's the fastest way to get there, there's a lot of answers. One of the simplest answers is listings. How come?
If you didn't have this screen up here, what would your answer be? Like seriously,
People
what
see
is
signs. Yeah, all the
okay? What else?
You have the opportunity to represent both sides.
Okay.
That's right. 100%. I'm going to read something to you. It's from this
They
book.
put.
It's called
Finding a listing around.
Millionaire Real Estate Agent book. I don't know if you ever heard of it. Hope you've read it. It's a pretty good one. So on page 102, it says, in our experience, a highly focused, highly leveraged real estate agent can work 15 to 25 seller listings per month and keep it up. The same agent would be hard pressed to work 7 or 8 buyers per month and continue to do so over a long period of time. It continues. Properly marketed seller listings bring you more business. Because of the multiple marketing opportunities that are part of the listings process, we've found that on average, one well-marketed listing will generate one serious buyer who buys. So if you focus on obtaining and marketing seller listings, you should be able to get all the buyers you need. It's the real estate industry's version of the twofer. I just like saying twofer. the simplicity in this is almost annoying. Who feels like at times you're literally focused on 15 different things? If I was to just focus on one thing that made everything else unnecessary or easier, do you think it might actually be listings? Based on a lot of the data out there, it is. I don't ever actually have to focus on buyers. If I had a real estate business, I probably would never focus on buyers because I know if my listing system is at least an 8 out of 10, or even a 6 out of 10 for the love of Pete, right? Which mine would probably be a 6 out of 10, maybe a 4, right? I'm going to get another buyer if I'm marketing it even a little bit because of all of these reasons on the screen. So what has to be true in order to overcome that gap over a 90-day period and quickly and most effectively without working more hours? There's no doubt to us that it's focused on listings because people need help too in that space. Listings right now for consumers is a super scary space. There's more than 50% of listings that are coming onto the market have a price reduction. And a listing that has a price reduction results in almost 7 or 8 times more days on market than those that don't. You think that's a happy seller? Probably not. So there's a lot of good that we can do for these sellers as well, because we know the data, right? What's next? So with that said, we want to go into how to think about this simple model and why listings, right?
Yeah, so when we talk about the numbers, when you think of numbers, what do you think? Like, write these down on a piece of paper. Like, you've got a piece of paper in front of you, type it. I'm gonna write it here, don't worry. All right, when you think of a number, what do you think? Like, what is a number? It's a digit, right? It's a point, like it's a measurable, right? It's like a, it's like a scoreboard, right? When you have a number, you took X listings or you had this much in your listing GCI, like it's a number, right? It's really for more accountability than anything. And when we talk about this whole process of analyzing your business and seeing where the opportunities are, we take that number and then we compare it to a metric. What's a metric?
Measurable.
Measurable of measurable normally between 2 points, right? It's like a measure between here and there. And metrics the reason that metrics are important in our business is they show a best practice, right? Or a standard, right? It could be, a standard, it could be a conversion rate, it could be a balance of your business. What we're going to talk about is where the opportunity is in the balance of business. And then from that metric, we look at it and say we get insights from the metric. And the insight basically is, what is that number telling us based on the metric that we know? And from that insight, we then make change or don't.
One of the best things I was always coached, I've heard from mentors that when we're having an insight around a metric, a variance, so maybe my metric is 10 and I'm at 5, right? Whatever it is. Well, there's a variance there. The variance isn't a good or a bad thing. It's simply a conversation, right? Right? Which is where the insight comes into play.
Yeah. So how does this apply to you in your business? And I want to walk through an exercise on this. We're going to go a couple minutes over. I apologize for that, but it'll be good. Write this number down: 12,151,187. 12,151,187. Okay. The next number is 5,521,521. Okay. Anybody know what those two numbers are? Big numbers. They're big numbers.
Is the first one average commission?
No, the first one is GCI that came from buyers in Keller Williams Charleston. So this is all Keller Williams Charleston. Year to date. What? Okay, so we had $12,151,187 came from buyer side commissions.
I'm sorry.
You're fine.
That was the dumbest answer ever.
You was. It was not.
I was thinking 12,000.
You're fine. Listen, and I appreciate it. I knew that's why you're doing it, what you're doing, Amber, which is why I didn't say anything about it.
Valid.
Okay, so 5,521,521, what would you think that is? Listing commission. Okay, so we have a number here. What's the metric? What should it be as an organization, right? That's not necessarily for your business, right? But what should it be? Because this is
About 50.
should be about 50-50. Okay, so the metric is 50-50. The actual is not 50-50. So what should this be? Like if the
12 and 12 or 5 and 5, right? Is that what you mean?
Or 8 and 8.
okay, one of those was right.
Oh.
One of those was right.
We're smart.
So if the total commission was roughly 17 million and some change, right? And 12 million was list or buyers and 5 million was listings, what should the listings have been?
Well, 50%, then 8 something.
Okay, I got 8.5.
8,836,300.
I mean, if buyers were 12, sellers should have been 12.
Exactly.
Right.
So there's a big aha here, right? So here's why we walk you through the math, because we've all done it. I do it every time. I'm like, oh, you add it, you divide it. No, because what you're doing when you say that is you're saying we're buyer heavy. We're never buyer heavy. We're listing light, right? Because we don't want to take away the buyer's side in order to make the seller side go up. That's where the opportunity is. So the opportunity that we have here is the difference between the two. What's the difference between these two numbers? Anybody got a calculator? 6,629 and some change. 6,629 and some change.
And why is it actually an opportunity?
Because somebody had that.
That's right.
Yes. See, this is what
That's
we miss on this is there were $6.6 million in GCI that we did not get. Why not? What was it? We didn't take the listing. That's the number one answer right there. See, you don't need to start license class. Listen, plenty of people with licensing aren't doing well anyway. Just go start practicing real estate, right? No, I mean that's what it is. That's the simple thing. Well, there's a couple of things, right? The one is we didn't take the listing. That is the number one. Because someone else did. Right? That's the other one, right? Someone else took the listing. Now there are a couple year to date, halfway through the year, this doesn't apply. You could have had a buyer side anomaly, right? Jillian could have closed like a $12 million commercial deal, right? That would have maybe skewed the numbers. The other two are overpriced listings. I think we do have an opportunity there, right? We're taking listings, but they're overpriced. Or we're not taking the right listings, right? You're taking listings that aren't selling for whatever reason, right? The type of listing it is, if you're taking commercial that's not selling, or if you're taking land that's not selling. The number one thing is someone else got the listing, right? So if you know that's the case, by the way, we normally take longer to get to that. So it's really good that we got that pretty quickly. If you know that's the case and those were out there, then what changes do we need to make knowing that someone took the listing, right? And that's how you make these adjustments going into the rest of the year, because that's what creates the results. So what I want to do is we're going to do a quick 30-second, like, where are some areas we can make some changes? And then I want to get you in small groups and you're going to brainstorm for about 3 minutes of what you're actually going to do. But where are the opportunities in taking listings right now?
Canceled, expired.
Canceled expires 27%. 27% of the closings in Q1 were canceled or expired listings that had come back on the market. 27%, right? So that's a big one. What else?
27% of listings failed.
Right.
Setting.
What else?
For sale by owner.
For sale by owner. So I've been lurking for sale by owners all year. Like well, here's what happened. I went to an event. Land Boys had a deal and I bought it. And so I've been like,
That happens way more than
stop talking. And so, so I happen to follow listings and I dabble in a little bit. What's interesting is I dabble in a little bit. We got one. And so since it worked, we were like, well, I'm not going to do it anymore. And so, but I've been following it. And what's interesting is I just went an audit of all the ones that we were following, and probably 80% of them are on the market now. So that statistic that only 7 to, I think it's 12%. No, it's less than 10% of the closings come from for sale by owners.
Well, I have a question on that. Were they off the market? Like, was it because it was overpriced and now it's on with a reduced price, or?
No, these were for sale by owners. A couple of them were listed at one point in time. There were a handful of them.
Yeah.
But these were ones that came on for sale by owner. They tested the market. They realized they couldn't do it. They listed. And then, by the way, they listed with an agent. By the way, they're not all listed. There's not one agent right now that's monopolizing them for sale by owners. I thought there was. They're not.
It's just the one staying in touch.
It's the one staying in touch. And what I think it is I think it's the ones that are trying every now and then, and they happen to be catching the FSBO at the right time. I think if there was a handful of people staying in touch, they would be monopolizing the FSBOs right now. But I don't think
With
it
needed and useful information.
correct. Okay, so we got those expires for FSBOs. What's a couple more?
What's the question, Ben?
How to get listings?
Farming.
Farming, right? Specific, making sure your message is around listen. We talked about this yesterday. It's like it's either your method or your message, right? Your method's obvious. We talked about those, right? Your message makes a huge difference though if you're not going to target your method. So if your message is always out there, why it's a good time to buy, why it's a good time to buy, why you shouldn't worry about rates, why you should always be talking to Kelly, why you should be doing all that, that's great. But what are you going to get? Fires. So what's the message that you can have on that?
Well, you want to capitalize on Kelly's webinar that's about sellers. Like,
Yeah, the sellers.
maybe not first time sellers or something sellers.
Did felt like home selling webinar, people have lots of questions.
Yeah.
And they're scared to talk.
Share
If
it on.
you're a social media presence person, capitalize that platform.
All right, so here's what I want you to do in groups of 3. How many?
3.
Yeah, see, that what you in groups of 3 right around you. If it's 4, that's fine. If it's 2, that's fine. And I want you to talk for about 2 to 3 minutes, and I want you all to come out of there with the one thing that you can do to go get a listing in the next 30 days. That work? Groups of how many?
3.
3. I'm gonna give you 2 to 3 minutes, and then we'll wrap up by 1 test. Sound good? All right.
All right, you were doing that. Can you join?